Factoring trinomials using the rainbow method, example 1. First, we're going to write our expression in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. And the a and the b and the c are the numbers that are multiplied times the variables. So here's our expression, 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. Our second step, we're going to find a, b, and c. In this case, a is a 3, b is a 8, and c is a 4. At this point, we don't need to worry about the signs of those values. For our third step, we're going to multiply a times c. So here, a times c is 3 times 4, which gives us a 12. Now we need to find all the factor pairs of 12. And we'll start with a 1. We always start with 1. We multiply 1 times 12 to get to 12. So you notice we leave some space between the 1 and the 12, and we're going to fill that in with the rest of the factor pairs. So the next value, increasing 1, would be a 2. 2 times 6 would give us a 12. Increasing again, we have 3 times 4, and that gives us a 12. And you'll notice that the numbers increase from the top, and then they decrease as you come up from the bottom. And when they come together, you know you found all the factor pairs. Our next step is to link these factor pairs. So we're going to start with 3 and 4. It's linked together to get 12. We link the 2 and the 6. 2 times 6 gives us the 12. And 1 times 12 gives us the 12. Now we need to find the sum and the difference for each factor pair. So I'm going to put the sums on the top corners and the differences on the bottom corners. So in the top corner, 1 plus 12 gives us a 13. On the bottom corner, the difference between 1 and 12 is an 11. And again, we're not worrying about the signs right now. The next pair, 6 plus 2 gives us an 8. And 6 minus 2 gives us a 4. For the final pair, 3 and 4 gives us a 7. And the difference of 3 and 4 is 1. Now we need to locate b and mark the pair that was used to form this. So in our list up here of a, b, and c, we see that b is an 8. On the corners there, we find there's an 8. And what did we use? We used a 2 and a 6 to form the 8. Now we need to rewrite our original expression with this pair. So in rewriting now, we're going to write down our first term, 3x squared. We'll leave some space and write down the last term, plus 4, not making any changes to either one of these. Okay, now the middle term is what we're going to rewrite using the factor pairs. And that was a negative 8x. Well, using a 2x and a 6x, if they're both positive and we add them, we get an 8x. That's not what we need. We need a negative 8x. So if I have a negative 2x and a negative 6x and I combine them, I get a negative 8x. So that's the pair we'll use. And this is where we use the signs. So we're trying to represent a minus 8x with a 2x and a 6x. And we found if I have a negative 2x and a negative 6x, when I combine them, I get the negative 8x. Now we're going to factor our new expression by grouping. Our first group, 3x squared minus 2x. Our second group, negative 6x plus 4. From the first group, we see that we can factor out an x, which will leave 3x minus 2. From our second group, we can factor a negative 2, which will leave a 3x minus 2. Now we need to check, is the expression inside the parentheses identical? In this case, it is. So now we're able to factor that expression out, and we get 3x minus 2 is our first factor, and our second factor is x minus 2. So let's check to see did we get the proper factors. We'll multiply our factors back together to check. So multiplying with the FOIL, the first term, 3x times x, is 3x squared. The outer would be 3x times a negative 2, which would be a minus 6x. The inner would be a minus 2 times x, so minus 2x. And the last will be a negative 2 times a negative 2, giving us a positive 4. Combining our like terms, we get 3x squared minus 8x plus 4, which was our original expression we were trying to factor. So we found we do have the correct factors. And that's it for factoring trinomials using the rainbow method.